mental health phase where I just had to like express myself in terms of like the situation I'm in. So for me, I had to be like 2 episodes, release the next episode, and the next episode. It really like burnt me out where now I lacked inspiration. But then I also now had to also learn that like not all money is good money, and a lot of brands were tapping into the culture and everything I was releasing. But now when there's too many brands, they dictate what they want. So certain collaborations, like with all due respect and everything.
Our dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day that we have. We pray that as this podcast episode number 7 starts, may your angels be with us. Grant us wisdom and understanding to enlighten the youth that are listening to us from here on out. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I just have to clarify, are you Christian?
Yes, I am.
Okay, fantastic. I could have been imposing there if a situation happened where you're either Muslim or
maybe a Satanist or something. No, I'm definitely a Christian, so yeah.
Fantastic. Hey guys, welcome to episode number 7 on the M&J podcast. Today I am super excited to announce our guest. Malo, are you not excited?
Well, I'm actually in disbelief that he actually came through.
Yeah.
When you were telling me that he confirmed, I was like, boy, we've been scammed, but we'll send the money regardless. So that we can talk about it on the podcast. This is how we got scammed. Yeah, it's a very wonderful episode. As you can see, we have the legend, the big man, Mix Kasamwa, the Lusaka Taf on, the guy who's able to do millions of things at the same time. I don't know how he does it. He's an actor, he's a musician, and he's a dancer.
Yeah.
You're Superman, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And,
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, he's a brand ambassador of so many, I don't know. I think there's Dabonese there's Right Price.
Yeah.
There's, what else?
I think for now, just Right Price, Debonair's, Vox, Stillwater as well.
Wow.
And Noble Society. Yeah.
That's amazing. You look good, by the way.
Thank you.
Like you said, you looked all dripped out.
Yeah, the drip is forever. The drip is forever. I have to make sure.
Yeah, you're really representing the culture.
Yeah.
Very good. Mr. Jerry.
Today, I'm glad to bring to the attention of our listeners that this episode has been proudly sponsored by Z Nations. We are the leading store that sells electronics, and for every person that's going to be the 100th subscriber, we're going to give to you the red MI. Remember, like, subscribe, and share our content. And yeah, that's it. Today we are talking to the man that started the culture that we call the Lusaka culture. He's a representation of what a true Zambian on is. From pillar to post, we know when you travel to the UK, you travel to America, any Zambian will reckon the name Mix Kasamwa. And we're going to talk culture, we're going to talk work ethic, we're going to talk entrepreneurship, but most importantly, we're talking Mix Kasamwa on the M&J podcast. So buckle up. Mix, first question we're going to, I think this is not going to be like, I'm trying to not make it an interview, but then CZNBC.
Yeah.
Trying to make it a dialogue as natural as possible.
A conversation, yeah.
Yeah, just a conversation. Where would we start, if not from the first episode that we saw you at the University of Zambia Student Center? That was the first episode that I actually wasn't exposed to.
How did you know it was the University of Zambia? Did you school there?
Yes. And only the cool kids would go to the student center.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool honeys would be getting the shawarmas from.
Yeah, there's always honeys. By Nadia's there. There used to be Nadia's. Is there still Nadia's?
No, Nadia's actually was removed.
Oh, okay.
I think before the COVID, it was removed for health reasons. So there's no longer Nadia's. It's just some different franchise that's there.
Oh, okay.
So tell us, was it Did you go to the University of Zambia, or what's the backstory of Mix?
I think I've told like this story a couple of times, but you can never tell it too many times. It's like it's something that's a part of me. So I schooled in Botswana at Limpopo University. That's where I studied like media, multimedia. And then, that's when I came back to Zambia, and then I was just trying to figure things out. I think I had like a part-time job as like a content creator for a computer company. And that's what I was using to sort of like, start like my brand, start like my content, my career. And then, I think for background of university or education, I think that's about it, nothing else.
Amazing. It's hearing you speak right here is like I'm seeing two personalities. Like Jerry said, my story of how I got exposed to your content was I think I've always been a late bloomer when it came to social media trends and whatnot. Yeah. Long story short, there was a moment where Jerry, as we were starting our venture in discovering ourselves as entrepreneurs, we own a shop in town where we sell electronics and whatnot.
Oh, like what type of electronics?
Basically whatever we can get our hands on, but we're not phone dealers, we're businessmen.
Okay.
So how there was a time where we used to walk, we had a certain store that we go to, right? Like we would assist in terms of sales, making sales. There was this man, like Pablo Escobar figure, imagine that, but in the industry of phones. So he would make us distribute his phones. And
so if you don't distribute like properly, would something happen to you? Or like, let's say if you don't deliver his product on time, would something happen to you?
Well.
Would you get capped?
Not really like that though. But in the context where work ethical, it was this unestablished work environment. When we talk about established work environment, we talk about very established brands like Absa and all those formal, places.
What do you mean, Absa?
It's just the first thing that came to mind. It can be a very any form of.
So you used to supply for Absa or something?
No. We used to supply for a man called Danny.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Would supply phones he would bring pre-owned phones and we would sell them for him. Anyway, that's besides the story. So long story short, we had a moment where I think we were going through town. Jero was like the new element I added into my team. And he was like, dude, filling me in the new stuff because I was so old school by then, not trendy and stuff. So he would tell me, bro, look, there's this guy who's like doing it big in business. You know the story. He was doing it big in business. He's young. Have you ever thought of interviewing? I was so narcissistic to the point that I didn't really. Narcissism isn't actually the word.
Yeah, like narcissistic, I think is fine. Like you didn't feel the need to bring someone into your space. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, I think well spoken. I also saw the world as me as the starring of the story. You know what I mean? Everybody sees themselves like that, but for me, I think it was way too much.
Yeah.
So at this point, we take a walk. We go to this. We get on some stairs and we get to this place where a kid is sitting in the middle of the room. It might be the corner, but my memory just tells me in the middle of the room. He's got these kids circling around him and laughing at his every joke. I was like, Jerry interacted with the boy and that went well. He even threw a joke at us because we were wearing suits. It's like, they are the ones over Mashtananan, they Gonga. And, everybody was laughing. Manasazim couldn't allow me to see the joke out of that. I was just like, who's this guy calling me out and whatnot? Yeah. Who's this kid?
So there was a kid, like, he was doing, like, stand-up comedy, like, for, like, his friends. Like, he was cracking jokes, so he was watching a video.
The thing is, he was just seated in a store where he was selling merch, right?
Okay.
And he had this following, following that you could say like publicity, like something that you would see on maybe say...
He had a huge following.
Yeah. He had a lot of people for no reason, just, sitting around him, standing around him and
is he like popular? Like?
Yeah, he's popular actually.
What's his name?
Yeah, I'm getting to that.
Oh, okay.
So we get to that and... this boy throws a joke. Long story short, we get out of there, and Jerry's like, brah, yeah, that's a boy. I'm like, who was that? He was like, that's Chanta Brand. So I'm like,
Oh, Chanda Brown. Shout out
and I'm
Chanda
like,
Brown.
oh yeah, shout out to him. And I was like, oh, who is he? So he literally started explaining to me who Chanda Brown was, and I started stalking him after that. The story is similar to yours. That's the reason why I brought it up.
Oh, okay.
So this moment we're at the store, we're just interacting, laughing, throwing jokes. A beautiful girl walks in, beautiful dark brown skin.
Brown skin pie walks in.
Brown, not dark shade of brown, but very consistent in color. She was very pretty.
Wait, like light skin or dark
Not
skin?
light, like brown, like
brown.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Dark. Yeah, okay, dark. Beautiful dark though. And then she walks in, through another client that we knew very well.
Is this in Chanda Brown store?
No, our store now.
Oh, okay.
So she walks in and then she purchases the device, very chilled. And we had this, sorry? It was an iPhone X, silver, and a black screen. I remember it very well.
Oh, okay.
So after she walks away, before she walks away, we had this culture whereby we didn't go according to the rules, right? We just made up things that we wanted. So we had this thing whereby take photos with the clients and happy client thing and post it on the page and stuff. It was working very well. Everybody was copying it, and we had it. So I suggested, can I do it with you? And she was like, yeah, sure. So we did that happy client thing, not knowing that it seemed like we were fanatics, fan. And long story short, Jay was like, wow, shit, that honey is so even more beautiful in person. That's Mix's girl. I was like, who's Mix?
Oh,
this
for
is
real?
the who's who comes in. And I was like, who's Mix? And then everybody in the store was like, Mix, because I don't know Mix. Because I was like, not
She was
really.
still my girl at that time?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So, and that happened, and that was, I think, the first interaction I had with your content, and I was prompted to go on social media and start researching you. And I had this judgy mentality as I approached your persona on social media and stuff like that. I had this, it's going to be boring. Yeah. Not to say that, I'm not saying that Zambian content creators, now they're, interesting, but by then it was so cliche that they wanted to emulate Nigerians, Americans and stuff like that, South Africans. So I was like, it's going to be similar, we want to be. So I watched your content and I was like, wow, it prompted me to want to watch the next episode. The only thing that made me to want to interact with your content more was the originality and the identity in it aspect, where you had this banner you had to carry on, and the Lusaka on thing. I was like, wow, so fascinated with how you managed to spot that and bring it into art. I was like, wow, power.
Yeah.
And you called and you're like, this is Mix and stuff like that. There was a problem with the phone, and then you had to rectify it. It showed me another side of your personality. I might be wrong, because you're now this guy who's looking out for his girlfriend. And I was like, okay, this guy is...
Oh, wait, I called when she was getting her phone repaired.
She got the phone and then she had some problems. I think weeks or a month after. And then she called me, and then you called me. You was like, I'm calling on behalf of... what's her name again?
Marie.
Yeah, I'm calling on behalf of Marie. She bought a phone from you. I was like, yeah, she had children. And you explained what the problem was. I was like, yeah.
What was the problem? Yeah, I forgot it. What was the problem with the phone?
I think the screen, if not the screen, I think it's the battery. Something in those lines. So I explained, I think it was a battery. So, yeah, so I explained to Marie, I was like, okay, the only way, because you took long to come back, because our policy was 2 weeks of observation, but and I explained that, and she was like, no, but it's not fair, because, and then she told now you, and then you called me now, and I was like, Mix, who's Mix? You know that, Mix, oh, I don't know any Mix. No, I'm Mix Kasamwa. I was like, and immediately clicked. I was like, them content creators. I was like,
yeah.
That's when we
You see, I'm an amazing boy. People think, there's a lot of people out there think, I'm just like, a savage, like, a typical sucker on. But like, in reality, like, I was taking care of someone, you know what I mean?
That's the amazing part. I was so interested to see that you were taking care of your girlfriend. By then, we were playboys, like.
Oh, you were in the streets of LSK.
We were on the streets. We had this application called Tinder. And
you were using Tinder?
Yeah, Tinder. He introduced me. I introduced him to Tinder. He introduced me to Badu.
Yeah.
And Facebook.
And there's one thing that I noticed, that with the Tinder dates would always end at some restaurant. And then Malo taught me how to close, take her home, and smash her the same day.
You guys are enjoying.
Yes.
For real?
Yes, Mix. But this is the thing that I noticed that you covered in your episode. There was an episode that you covered, and most of the girls in that episode would go to the Sky Bar. From the Sky Bar, the owns would roast, and then eventually, kayak. You know, that's the side of dating that we haven't really seen.
Yeah.
And I just want to hear your side. From your varsity days, before your fame.
Yeah.
What was it like?
I think for me, I think I went through that phase. I think they call it like, I don't know if I'm allowed to like cuss.
Yes.
They call it like the whole phase, you know, where you're just, you know, experimenting, you want to try different things. I went through that phase like I think as soon as high school was done, and then like early university times. But then after some time, I got really busy, like really like pushing for like my brand. So you just know, like, let's say if you've got multiple guzas, like it's expensive, you know.
Yes.
You have to have talk time to talk to all of them. They want to go on dates, you know what I mean? Like, even if you just, let's say you want to roast that night, like you can't just, it's very rare that you can just roast. Like, probably want to, if you're going to Sky Bar, you have to spend. Yeah. If you're with her at Sky Bar, you have to spend. You have to like get her some alcohol, get her some food. You just know as a guy, you want to spend. Yeah.
Logistics as well.
Yeah? Logistics, transportation, etc.
Yeah.
So it was just really expensive for me, and I was just looking at the field I wanted to get into. It's very expensive. Just like content creation or film related, or even just music, is very expensive. So I had to. That was the main reason. I was just like, the second reason was also just it's not as exciting as what people make it seem, you know. Like, people make it seem like, you know, if you're in the streets are cold, you know. I think when I went through like a painful heartbreak. Like I was in a long-term relationship, and then after like high school, the person had to travel abroad, and the relationship ended, and it hurt me, and I felt like I've invested so much time in this relationship, and then now I should start again. I can't start again. So that's how I just started, you know, different buy. I've never really had a problem with like, you know, buys. Like even before the fame, like I think I've been good at like, you know, like being like romantic, finessing, you know, the game has been about.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think I've ever had any of those issues. Even like early high school, like most of, like, if I see a pie that I want, like I would really like push, like, you know, to get her, you know. So after that, I really just started. There was a period when I was single, and I wasn't even like smashing or having any flings with anyone because I didn't have time. And during that period is when I really like started like developing my skills in terms of like things I learned at university, refining them, making them better. Because again, with university, the education system in Africa is so outdated. So I literally had to do like a refresher course on learning everything, the new Photoshop or like Premiere Pro, new way of like managing social media, the way it changes almost every month. I had to do a lot of like reading and like understanding. So during that period is when I was able to like develop myself. So yeah, and just, you know, just like casual sex and stuff, like it started as I grew up. It really wasn't a thing, like, you know, especially if you don't know the person really well.
Yeah.
And then I got to a point where when I wanted to start getting into a committed relationship, this was before like I dated Marie in Lusaka, I was like, okay, I'm attracted to this person. I want to like, you know, develop like not a relationship, but a connection with this person if I'm going to smash or anything, you know. And I would find myself now doing things that you do when you want to date someone. Like, okay, we should go. I wouldn't even say a date, but like, okay, let's go get some lunch. That's a date. Okay, let's go for a movie. That's a date. You know, and then you start catching feelings. They start catching feelings. And then I'm like, After some time, I'm like, okay, now it looks like we're headed towards a relationship, you know. So it just became so complicated, and then eventually I just had to, the reality of everything was sometimes it's just better to settle down, and like it helps discipline you, it helps like ground you. So yeah, I think that's what I can say about that.
That's like the full summary of what happens. And for people who haven't been in a situation of identity crisis, seeking for validation as a man, you wouldn't actually understand the context of what you were saying in depth.
Yeah.
What I mean is the stages of how you, firstly, it's like a seek of approval where you try to see how many people are going to agree with me.
Yeah.
If I bring up an idea, if I bring up a concept of let's do this together as a leader, you try to experiment on your leadership, ideology and power. So it's like now you test it with the first interactions that you have as a boy, at least for me, with the girls that you are presented in your social balance, right? So it will start with you just wanting a girl to accept you, to just say yes.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's going to be, I want this to be, after you explore it a lot, you're going to now discover, after she says yes, you have to learn how to interact with her.
Yeah.
And then after the interaction, you've done that, you have to learn now, you actually do activities on top of interacting, on top of doing all these things.
Yeah.
And then there reaches a stage where now you start experimenting with your privates, where you want to now sink your dick in whatever.
Yeah.
Because
you
how
want
many
to
girls
roast
can I
now.
roast? How many girls can I roast? Okay, light, white. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, you start ticking.
Yeah.
Okay, I've done this, I've done that. And then you reach a stage where now it becomes boring when you're just coming into the room. You remember what you explained to say, I've reached a stage where I just don't want to go to come in and we start smashing.
Yeah.
There's no emotional attached to it.
Yeah.
But at first it wasn't a problem. It wasn't a problem.
It was a vibe. Like when you're in that stage, it's a vibe. You're riding the wave. Everything's nice. So yeah.
And you reach a stage where now you want more. Like,
Yeah.
Interaction before sex and after sex.
Yeah.
And not necessarily you wanting a relationship, but you just want that interaction, the foreplay before and after the sex.
Yeah.
Or maybe for some guys, it's just before the sex. And then after the sex, okay, well, how are you leaving?
Yeah. Yeah. True.
Inspired. So it's funny how, and that's...
I think... I don't know if you'll agree with me or not. There's a man called Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
He describes how a man has to have an insatiable hunger for conquest.
Yeah.
So if that one day you say, I have finally arrived and have achieved all my dreams with this one woman, then you as a man have died internally.
Yeah.
He says we have to have access to multiple and options.
Yeah.
We have to have access to multiple women and choose to be loyal to one woman but still fuck another bitch.
Yeah.
Would you say this is the ultimate monogamy for men and women just have to stick to that one man whilst he has options? Or do you think a man should have one woman at a single time?
It's really confusing, that one. Like I can really like relate with like Andrew Tate when he's in that energy, when he's talking about like, and also just African culture, men when they have multiple wives, it's like people are like, like maybe like certain women are like, he's got multiple wives, even other men, and you're just there like, just a small part in the back of your mind is like, I kind of understand though, like it wouldn't really be, like 4 or 5 wives, like different. You even make like a timetable. Mondays, Wednesdays, variety. So it's like a confusing thing for me, but I still get it as a man. Like sometimes, you just want access to like variety. But what I can say is, I think it really depends with who you are. I feel like there are certain men out there who just can't settle with one woman. Like it's just not how maybe they were raised. It's not how they were wired. They're really just there to like have multiple girls, So now it comes back to the girls to decide like, is this the man I want to be with? And you've noticed it gets confusing in the sense where certain females, like they can they know this guy has other girls, but they don't mind. They don't necessarily mind. They're still there. They still go back. The friends tell them, like, what are you doing? I think there's also certain guzas who, like literally deep down, like subconsciously, they don't mind. Even though, like, society makes it seem like, okay, you just have to have one woman. But for me personally, I think you need a lot of energy to be able to connect with one human being, you know, and with a female or like your goza, like you need like time and energy. I just don't think, because of my career, I think maybe if I was born into like a rich family and there's always racks, like I don't have to work as much, I think I would have the energy and the time, because I can fly this one to Dubai on Monday, Wednesday I fly the other one to, you know, to Cape Town. But because of like the stuff I'm doing, I don't have the time and the energy to entertain a relationship with multiple women. And I also don't, I think, I don't want to say I don't have the finances, but it just feels like I'm spending unnecessarily if I start spending on like four guzas, like just for dinner, what, socks, what, like then my racks are gone, because I work really hard for the money that I make, you know. So not only don't I have the energy and the time to spend on like multiple women, even that one guza, she has to be able to bring something to the table, you know, because when you're in your 20s, it's rough. But I understand why the blessers, when they reach a certain age, it's now time to, you know, to bless.
It's, you know, one thing
It's time to bless.
keeps on bringing me back to the quote of Jordan Peterson about restraint.
Oh,
right?
I love Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, same here. So it brings me to the concept of restraint, where if we do not just limit it to nobility, we associate it to you having a grounded more. Because look at this: if you are entertaining 10 girls at the same time, you need to have about 10 personalities on you. You spoke about energies. I solely believe in energy interaction more as I believe in verbal interaction. So what it is because we know that people have different temperaments, right? So if you have, say, a Natasha who's very loud, very hyper,
Natasha, for the streets.
from the streets. So if you have a Natasha who's like loud, likes going out, and then you have a Jen who's calm, collected, right, likes reading and all those things. So meaning if you're with the Natasha, you need to tweak your personality to adjust to the Natasha.
Yeah.
And then if you're with Jen, you have to tweak your personality to adjust to Jen.
Yeah.
What that means is you are consistently throwing your identity back and forth, back and forth. And in that game, you might win by gaining more knowledge about human interaction, or you might lose yourself, your identity.
Yeah.
So
your personality.
Your personality. So when it comes
spread
to
it too thin, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to restraining yourself with one, maybe exercising in monogamous relationship, to me, I believe it helps me in the aspect of me learning and training my body a certain way that I want it to go, like with my beliefs. Like I'm a Christian, I know all those, and so when I choose to be with one girl, when I have the power to go out with maybe 10, I have the capability, the skills, the know-hows. I've been rejected more than one time. So
But 10. Me, I think like 3. But 10. Like 3, 4, I think I can try.
You can try.
But 10.
It's wild, huh?
10 is wild.
There are people who are
10
managing.
arguments.
That's a way to look
10
at it.
fights.
You know, I've done this before. I've been, I think, at one single time 3.
Yeah,
And
me too.
I think the easiest way is to communicate to all 3 of them and say, hey, listen, kuliko munzako, who's going to come on a Saturday? You can come on a Sunday. And the other friend will come on Monday. I think the transparency is what you said earlier. There's certain women who are okay at the back of their mind, despite what society says, you only have to have one man and that one man has to stick to you.
Yeah.
At the back of their mind, they know a man has access to options. But what I noticed with me was there's a certain part of me, like you said, there are multiple personalities, but there's a part of me that wants, I like white girls. Yeah, I really like white girls.
Yeah.
I like how feminine they are, how soft and silky their hair is, how light blue their eyes turn, and how...
So even now, you still like white good girls?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
it feels different.
Yeah.
But yeah, then there's a thing that dark skinned girls have as well. That's just it's just
It's the soul, like because I've dated like most races, like Indian, Chinese, Caucasian, dark skin, light skin, and mixed race as well. So one thing I've noticed about like a dark skinned African girl is like just the soul. They've got soul, like they've got like character, and like, you know, there's like rhythm in everything, not just like when having sex, but like just rhythm in everything. And their personality is like, it's really rich, you know. Same applies with some mixed girls, because some mixed girls fall on like the black side, the African side. So when you have a mixed girl, she can fall more on like the African side and have that soul of like a purely black woman, and have certain attributes of like a Caucasian woman. That's why I feel like a lot of people are infatuated by like mixed race, especially in Zambia, because sort of like it's like sort of like the best of both. I don't know if they know this consciously, but all in all, I feel like when it comes to sex, this is me. It's okay when it comes to sex. It's just like, you know, you're roasting there. It just feels like it's like the same thing.
It does.
Yeah, like the outcome, the feeling inside, and everything just feels like it's the same thing. So I would like what I've like gathered from that is like a woman is a woman. What makes it really good is the relationship you have, and like how open-minded she is, and her personality also contributes to how amazing your sexual experience will be. But yeah, but I think I understand what you're saying in terms of like what like white women or Caucasian women. I think there was a time for me where I was also just like really like trying to like have like an experience with just like a Caucasian or like a white woman. So yeah.
Having an experience with multiple races and stuff like that, to me, brings up the concept of how a lot of people want to seek approval in things, in even people and race. What I mean is this. The question of which phone is the best, iPhone, Android, or Windows. So the elite will say, and the majority, you know, iPhone.
Yeah.
And, you know, very few people will be like, Android. There's decent Androids out there that can fit you. And the elite and the people who are more of the iPhone, no, you, iPhone, you know, iOS, silicon, no, it's just the best out of everything. But I've experienced both worlds, right? And I choose Android recently. I'm using both phones, but I choose Android as my daily driver. Let me just. Okay, so driving home, what I mean is, it's good to have preferential, you know, know-hows of what you want, you know, like you know what you want.
Yeah.
But it's bad when you are choosing that thing just because you want society to accept you. What I mean is, you mentioned something about a lot of guys, like in Zambia, you know, you are celebrated as a man if you're dating a light-skinned girl. You're celebrated. When you come, that's a dude. Even your name changes to the guy who dates the light-skinned girl. So the attachment to that validation that you get from people, usually people go into that relationship just because of that.
Yeah.
Hence, they miss out on all the elements that make the relationship to be more beautiful in terms of personality-wise, and finding the person that just meets your personalities and needs, and you know what I mean.
I agree. I feel like there's a lot of colorism in Zambia. A lot of colorism, even in Africa. There's a little more as well in like the United States, just from observing like different cultures.
What is colorism?
Colorism is where like it's like, I'd like to say like a sub heading of racism. It's where people are treated differently based off of the color of their skin, not necessarily the race. So you could be Indian, but if you're like really dark, it's like, no, you're not attractive.
Yeah. I've
You
seen
could be American, but like if you're dark or like black, it's okay, maybe that would be more racism. But you could be Zambian, but if you're like dark, you're not considered attractive. And like you need to understand this is something that has been there like for a long time. Like if you're dark, you're dark, you know. It's sort of looked at as like dirt or like a bad thing. And a lot of people do get into relationships because of chasing this thing, the status of like, I've got like a light skin. Because I got a lot of backlash personally because I was dating like Marie, who was like dark skin.
Yeah, true.
And when our relationship ended, and it was ironic because it was at a time when my career was now also like
booming and going up.
And it's sort of like it's a stereotype where as soon as like
you hit it,
you hit a certain gnosis, you now go get like a light skin
upgrade.
You know, so I got a lot of backlash. People asking me, "Where's Marie? Where's what? Now you've moved." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But everyone close to me knows that the girl that I'm with now suits my personality. She's like a female version of me. And she's also asked me, because she's been in situations where early on in our relationship where she's like, did you date me because I'm light skinned? And what I was like, listen, I've dated light skin before, and even mixed race. And there were so many mixed race girls I had the opportunity to be with, but like I still didn't feel like our personalities were one. And it's solely based off of like her personality and her morals and like her work ethic and how smart she is. And I also concluded that situation by, if you were dark skinned, I would have still dated you. And even just like with Marie, you saw the situation. Like I was still present. I still valued her. I still felt she was like really beautiful and attractive. I mean, you saw her yourself.
Yeah,
like,
true.
As the hardest one in LSK, I don't just, pick up anything. So, but people in Zambia, and I'm actually releasing a limited series about colorism very soon. It's actually aired. It would have aired by the time this has dropped. It talks about, it's just like, it's a situation where certain people are not only peer pressurized, a lot of guys are peer pressurized. No, she's light skinned. Like, no, you have to force things. Like, you have to roast, Even though she's toxic, she's giving you problems, like you feel like you can't leave. Like, she's light skinned. When am I going to like get another light skinned girl, I mean, if it's preference since you were like young or whatever, it's fine. But like you say, just make sure it's not a situation where it's just because you're trying. It's a trophy. That's now objectifying a human being.
Accolades.
It's a Rolex now or something,
Speaking about your woman, I saw your recent trailer of promoting is it tilu?
Yeah, tilu.
Yeah. So promoting the tilu, I didn't get it at first. I only saw it on social media. That was on your page. It was like a reel. I forwarded it to you where they had this scene played where he was standing, they were having banter, and bad words were thrown back and forth. I was like, this disrespectful woman.
Yeah.
I didn't say woman, actually. I said the B word.
Yeah.
Not this bitch. Anyway.
That's my girl, though. So. But I understand.
Yeah. So I was like, is this how things are in their relationship? I didn't actually get.
Oh, that was the previous clip? Or the recent one?
That was the previous, where you're just standing and then, you're saying, why are you acting like this and stuff like this. It was like a raw, believable.
It wasn't even, I think that one wasn't even like, there wasn't even like proper gear where you would say this camera system. Yeah. It was literally on a phone, and then there was, what's his name? Medad.
Yeah.
It was like, I say, don't do this. It was so real, you know what I mean? It wasn't scripted, it was like very natural. So yeah.
When I saw that, I was like, shit, dude, is Mix a simp? Is he dealing with the woman who's able to insult his mom? Like, because for me, it's wild. I can never accept that. So when I saw now it made sense when I now saw the trailer and I saw that. I was like, okay, it makes sense. It was a promotional video.
It wasn't like even a promotional video. Like, what happened was we had so many people there. We were having rehearsals for Tilu, actually. And we're in this WhatsApp group with the entire team. There's interns, there's the entire cast. So the person who was taking the video shared it in the group. It's like, guys, this looks so real. It looks so authentic. You guys did a really good job. What we did there was just like us putting ourselves in a situation where, like trying to express the most toxic relationship, ever. And so somebody leaked that video on TikTok and tried to make it seem like that's what really happened, So just words from like our sponsors and like people we're in business with, we just had to like not entertain it anymore. But it was all like script, And what we're releasing, the content I'm releasing now, is just people say these things like. They say these things to each, even worse things, when you're having an argument in like a very toxic relationship. So one of the reasons why it went viral is because it's authentic, like it's raw. And even when you're at a show, you say, yeah,
Well, we made a white girl say that. It was his girlfriend by then.
See what you guys are making white people say?
Yeah, she was asking, what does that mean? And like, it means this and that. I lied to her. Did I tell her the truth? I did, huh?
Because you can't insult him. You really can't insult in English. So teaching a white girl how to insult.
She's British, like.
No, she's Danish actually.
Oh, okay.
Oh shit.
It's great.
Yeah, my girlfriend is Danish, by the way. So the reason why it's really close to home is because, yeah. But anyway, you said it was unscripted.
Anyway,
it was scripted, and they leaked the video, and that was the situation. So yeah, she's actually not like that. Just like for the record, she wouldn't like. I would, as the hardest one in NSK.
I was disappointed for a minute. I was like, Mix is gone now. Anyway, and following your career, believe me, I'm one person, when I like something, I try to follow up and see how it ends. Because for you, it was different. It wasn't a scripted Zambian play, which, predicted, and it ends the man being drunk and stuff like that. We've seen that play being done so countless of times that we can predict what's going to happen, right? So you came with the new concept of how to entertain Zambians, new lingo, introduced a lot of elements, and you were a comedian in your tried to eliminate, also incorporate, information.
Yeah.
I noticed in your progressing projects, you had started talking about, mental health and stuff like that, personality traits, and it was very impressive. But for me, I think you hit a plateau. That's my opinion. As a fan, you hit a plateau at some point where your content started seeming similar. I was like, what's going on, my boy? What's this? And, all of your projects had not the same, having the same theme is okay, but sort of like had similar, it's like you had explored, when you are eating, that sugar cane, and, you eat all the sweetness
sugar,
in it and the sugar, that you finish all the juice.
Yeah.
I started believing that that's where you reached.
Oh, okay. When exactly?
Like that I think 3 episodes after that. How many episodes have you released so far?
Close to, I don't know, like 15.
15. So I would say when we reached about the 7th, going forward, I started, because I was looking forward, and all those countdowns that you used to have while we were releasing, I would actually follow up. Is it released? Is it released?
Yeah.
On YouTube and whatnot. But going forward, I started feeling, like you started losing it, bro.
Yeah.
And I don't know if maybe I caught you off context, or maybe your direction of vision of what you wanted to see was exactly the way, or maybe creativity had just gone, because I noticed even your circle was affected. Marie was no longer part of the crew.
Yeah.
And Mr. Smiley slowly disappeared. I think drawing to the last episodes that you have, is even Smiley there?
Yeah, I think anything Lusaka Starter Pack, I think most of them, apart from Maria, there. Yeah, like I think you're right. Like I actually did reach like a burnout. That's why, like after that, I went into like mental health phase where I just had to like express myself in terms of like the situation I'm in. So what happened was, I just reached a phase. You just know in Zambia, like the moment people like something, they just like want the same thing for some time. Very few people will say we're tired of this. Because even today, people are still like, we want Lusaka Startup Pack, we want Lusaka Startup Pack. But I learned that you need to do things in phases to also protect your mental health. So even for you guys, eventually you would need to reach a point where you film 7, 8, 9 episodes in like 3 days, and then focus on just editing them and releasing them. And whilst they are airing, 9 episodes is 9 weeks. It's giving you energy to have new things to talk about, to have like more inspiration. So for me, I had to be like 2 episodes, release the next episode, and the next episode. It really like burnt me out where now I lacked inspiration. So yeah, I noticed that like myself, like, but then I also now had to also learn that like not all money is good money, and a lot of brands were tapping into the culture and everything I was releasing. But now when there's too many brands, they dictate what they want. So certain collaborations, like with all due respect and everything, they might have not noticed. I also didn't notice because of like the money, the racks that are there. It's sort of like clouded the direction of like where the production is going, you know. So that's when like even viewership started declining. It was there. It's like 50K views is easy, but like it was like, you know, like 50K, like 46, like 50K. It wasn't going above. So I looked at the analytics and the statistics, and then I was like, I have to go back to the drawing board. Hence why Tilu is here now. I've shot everything, I think, up to like episode 7. So I'm not shooting anything until maybe I want to reboot Lusaka Startup Pack, and I'm ready. I've been gone for like, 2 years?
Yeah.
So now I know what to do, more ideas. And what inspires Lusaka Startup Pack and Tilu is living life, like meeting, just coming here and finding out, oh, there's this Zambian guy who loves white women. You know what I mean? Like, don't be bang when there's a character in a Saka Startup Pack with like a white goza having issues like with like she's white and he's black, you know. That would be interesting, wouldn't it be?
Yeah,
But
definitely.
you see, I have to experience life. I have to go out there, see what's going on, listen to people's stories, and it takes some time. So that's why people drop, like, let's say, what's your favorite series?
Currently, Black Mirror.
Yeah, so Black Mirror, new season's coming out.
It's
By the
coming
way,
out.
you
I
saw the
watched
trailer.
Bandersnatch and I was like, so mind blown. I was like,
Yeah,
fuck,
I
this
love
is
Black
good.
Mirror also. I can't wait.
Good.
But the thing is, you see, from the last time they dropped, the last season, to when they're dropping, you see how long it has taken.
Yeah, it's a
it
long
gives the director, the producer, and everyone, the writer, time to figure like what direction. That's why it's usually good. It was always like at least above average, and we're expecting it to definitely be above average.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a bit difficult here because I'm like an independent creative, and sometimes you rely solely on like brands to survive. Which is, I'm not complaining. It's just it's like a lump sum of money. You know, it's good money, but I think just this anxiety of getting scared that like if I don't create, I might lose some of my brand deals or whatever. But then I've got like Right Price has just been the most supportive. They've literally been taking care of me even when I'm not creating. I'm able to communicate with them and tell them that like, listen, something's coming. Don't worry. No, you're not. Don't worry. And getting other new brands like Vox Water that is new, and they've loved my content from then. And I still like, listen, we just want you to, you know, be drinking the water and like send you cases and post on your story. You don't necessarily have to shoot like Lusaka Startup Pack. Working with brands like that has just also shown me that like I can actually take a break and I'll still be fine. And also God, to be honest, like me being a Christian, I think God just put me in a position mentally when I was dealing with mental health to say, you think you can figure everything out yourself? Like you think you're the one in control?
Control, the chick.
Then he's like, listen, whether you're creating content or you're popping right now, I'll still take care of you. And when I rested and I took that risk where I was like, I'm not going to create, I'm off for now, I still survived. Like there were still people calling me like, come do this, come do that, come do this, come do that. Like, come for an activation. We'll pay you to just come this weekend to just sit here and like hang out with different people. You know, high schools would call me. So that was me also rekindling a relationship with God. Just him like reminding me that, listen, like this thing where you want to take control of everything, you need to stop doing that. You go mad. You don't know what I have planned. So that's when I went through that mental phase. I got out of it. I had to reconnect because fame is crazy. It's dragging. Because even you guys right now, the moment you're popping like this, the podcast is popping. You're shooting some episodes in Dubai. There's some buyers around helping you. Like you will change. Like I'll call you once. I'm like, I want to learn the podcast. You say, Sat.
Why?
Give us $5 except if you want to pull up. Who is this?
Exactly.
Speak to my assistant.
Yeah, talk to my assistant before you talk to me.
So
I think 2020 was yours. I truly believed because you had me hooked. Believe me, I'm a critic, a worst critic. I like when I'm watching content, it needs to be challenging enough. It needs to motivate me towards, the identity thing and stuff like that. I'm like, and I saw the authenticity in your work and I was so vibing in it and I was by your corner each time you release content and stuff like that. But one thing that I saw, again, I observed as, you hit that plateau. Was a situation where I think that sabbat that you took where you had to step out of it, which was very healthy, mentally healthy. I agree with that because you need some time to step back. I've read stories of like Avicii and how fame got to him to the point where he felt like people didn't care for him as a human being, but they just used him like a product. So if you're a human being, you reach your breaking point and you break eventually. So I think that moment, that time when it gave, because you were pushing the narrative of Lusaka on, but it was more bending to the urban culture, you know what I mean? Like urban, Anamayadi, spirit, the new Anamayadi, the new culture of the lingo and stuff like that. Then came this boy, Ndine Emma, who was pushing behind you with a different narrative of Vene, common. So there's you who's like a giant already, and you are
Lusaka's hardest
on. And then there's Ndine Emma who's claiming, what's his logo again? At Vene, the Vene culture and stuff like that. His production was basic. You could see it's just a phone. Nothing impressive with that, right? Yours was well thought because you'd see to say this is a set. They have people arranged and stuff like that. And you'd respect the thing. But I think that moment when he had just that one video which was talking about Uno, I think that was a clip that made him viral. Uno, Noah, stuff like that, where he was... I think they played a scene where they're mugging one guy, bullying one guy, a friend of his and stuff like that. It went all viral and he was established. And that was when you were going away. And then the competition now, because you became a director, you became an actor, you became... You became a musician, yes. You became a musician and you performed. You released very good... We were jamming to your song, one of your songs with Mwaka. He has a crush on Mwaka, by the way.
You've got a crush on Mwaka. Everyone has a crush on Mwaka. But in a relationship.
So you were doing that. Emma comes and is doing exactly what you were doing before. But now he's hitting more highs, I would say, right now, currently. And don't you think maybe you going away, or maybe when you hit that, the reason why it's because maybe you became the OWAS Mwape, where you want to do everything yourself and not really trust your project with the team, where you are incorporating your team members to see your vision as a leader and push the banner. Even when you're at your lowest, I'm just assuming, by the way, even when you're at your lowest and rediscovering yourself, there's that one person who's still carrying the banner. Hence, you wouldn't have hit that plateau because someone else would have carried the umbrella and still bring it back to you while you're ready to push it even more forward.
I love your questions, by the way. I feel like this has been the best podcast I've actually attended. So yes, with Ndine Emma, I think I spoke to him when he was really blowing up, make sure you take heed of where you're going. We were like a long conversation in the beginning. We were supposed to collaborate, and then I had some issues, like some personal issues with family, like, and everything. So I couldn't meet up with him. But we still talk with even like his boys. Whenever we meet, it's like a vibe. It's just that, back to demographics, for me, I'm a premium brand. I'm representing an identity of Zambia and Lusaka that's not just about like suffering and like, you know what I mean? With all due respect to people who are, there's also like people who are in a different demographic, you know. I enjoy watching content that is still representing that demographic. Like I enjoy Ndine Emma's content. Like I think I watch it up to today. I don't think a week goes by without me watching Ndine Emma's videos. I'm a big fan, I respect him. I collaborated with Vubui as well in one of my skits. So I don't really like discriminate, but I've chosen to be a premium brand. So even with brands, there's like Shivas, there's like, even just with Debonairs. When I had a meeting with Debonairs is a premium brand, you know. They could be other brands and like restaurants who maybe cater for a different demographic. I don't want to mention the names and make it seem like they are like of low class, but they make money from that. Their products are cheaper.
Nadia's.
Their products are cheaper, the food is cheaper, but it's still good food. It's still food I would eat and I eat. Then there's other premium brands that like have a certain price. Even with like Vox Water right now, it's like a premium brand. They've got a certain price, you know. So you have to know what your demographic is, and it has to be attached to who you are. So for me, okay, I've never been a rich kid. I've actually gone through like a lot of financial issues with like my father and like growing up. But I've always enjoyed premium content. I don't like it when people portray Africa or Zambia to be like kids. There's no roads, there are no buildings, we don't have phones, there's no electricity. I really don't respect when the Western people come and do that, because we do have buildings, we do have roads, we do have civilized people, we do have smart people. So that's what I represent. My demographic might not be as big as like, because right now if I were to switch and represent a different culture or the culture you spoke about, I know my numbers would increase. But I've made so much money sticking to my demographic, because I think I worked with Sky Girls. Sky Girls came to me and paid me like a good amount of money to create premium content. They want the quality, they want the 4K, they want the good lighting, they want the casting, they want that, you know, and it gives me the opportunity to price high, because I'm not just asking for a lot of money, I'm actually spending money to create that. I'm also passionate. I studied multimedia. I'm passionate about film. Very, very passionate. I'm a critique. And I love like the fact that you like Black Mirror and everything. I'm a critique. I love quality content, and I feel Zambia and Lusaka needs to start creating quality content. You know what I mean? And I had a conversation with Emma, like back then I was like, yo, I'd love to see you in a starter pack, like, you know, like set everything. Like that would be dope. And I posted a clip with him and it went viral where people are like, yo guys, it's not even a competition. If you guys collaborate, like I feature in his videos and he features in mine, it will be a vibe. But I went through my burnout. Like what you said, exactly when he was coming up is when I didn't want to do Lusaka starter pack anymore. I didn't do Lusaka Starter Pack anymore. I reached the burnout. So I'm at a point right now where I work with energy, you know. If I'm meant to come here today, I'll be here. If we're meant to collaborate, we'll collaborate. It's no competition for me. Like, I'm really content with like my life. Like, financially, I'm really good. I don't remember the last time I begged anyone for money or asked anyone to give me money. All the money I've had since my career has been my own money. You know what I mean? I'm proud of like the vehicle that I have, the place that I stay, the girl in my life. I'm proud of the fact that I'm able to put food on the table for myself, get myself drip, clothes, whatever. Most of the things 90% of the things that I want, I'm able to get them myself. So I'm very, very content. And in as much as, my fans don't even compare me. Like my fans really, like my core fans, they really love the LSK culture. You know what I mean? So I'm in a place where I'm not really competing. I only compete with myself. So right now I'm trying to compete with Lusaka Starter Pack. I'm trying to make a bigger impact than Lusaka Starter Pack. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to improve the quality. I'm trying to improve the reach. And because I'm a premium brand, I've spoken to a Zambian woman who is married to a producer in Atlanta. He produces a lot of reality shows.
Yeah.
And she calls me all the time. She's like, she visits Zambia like very rarely. She was born in Atlanta. She calls me and she's like, she's really wealthy. She calls me and she's like, I really love your content. I love the quality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm the type of person who's trying to tap into, there's a lot of people in diaspora in the UK, Zambians in the UK. They are watching quality content.
Yeah, true.
They want to see their home in a quality spectrum. That's why when I cast, I mix it up. I've got a beautiful dark skin Zambian, I've got a beautiful light skin. I can even have like a Caucasian. I don't even discriminate like that. It's because I'm here to represent LSK in Zambia at a premium level, and I can't compromise. I can't. Like, to me, likes and like following and stuff, there's so many people who have had a huge following and a huge demographic, but when they go to the UK or to the US or to SA, no one knows them. No one can relate, even with music. So it's very, very important that we must think very premium. Even though you're representing, like, let's say, even though you're a content creator in the kombini, your end goal should still be, when I go to South Africa, when I go to the UK and the US, people must be able to relate.
True.
That's why there's that balance with me. That's why there's some English in some of my content, so that if someone watches, no offense to anyone who creates content for only local, it's fine. We need that. But we need different categories. We have Ndine Emma doing that and catering for the masses and the majority and everyone. And they need that. He shouldn't stop. I don't want him to stop. But we need variety. We need more.
True.
You know?
I totally agree with that.
So, yeah.
I think there's no way you can compare each other. The problem becomes, according to me, and my analysis in the entertainment industry, is that we reach a point where we cannot distinguish to say these are different areas. Actually, we're comparing. It's like comparing a woman and a man's capability of strength-wise, physical strength.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Well-trained woman, at her full capacity, can never out-train a man because of our biological way of structure. You know what I mean? So what I'm trying to say is these different categories are different. There's like in music, they call it genre and whatnot. I totally see it as clear as day when it comes to the difference between you and Ndine Emma. There shouldn't be any competition or whatnot.
Yeah.
But the problem becomes when a content creator like yourself and a leader of your own project becomes too stuck to not see that you're now competing with them. Because now when you're competing with them, you're not doing what you said, which is competing with yourself.
Yeah.
And the most important thing of competing with yourself is you tend to do things out of the box or without the box.
Yeah.
What that means is your content, the reason why it reached this far was the fact that it carried a niche.
Yeah. And I wasn't competing with anyone when I started. So I shouldn't get fixated on trying to compete now.
True. True.
I need to focus on the story I want to tell, my strengths. And my strengths remain quality. And back to what you said about the team and like growing the team, just to answer that question, because that was an important question.
Yeah.
I'll say this very, very like authentically. Like, it's very difficult to build a team in Zambia. A lot of people are not trained. And it's not like they're dumb or like they're stupid. No, we don't have a lot of institutions that are teaching people. Like I said, I studied multimedia. So when you see me rolling out certain standard of quality, it comes with that training and that skill. That's still not an excuse, because there's still YouTube and, Why? There's AI now. You can just very soon you just throw the video and it will throw it out.
Yeah.
Produced. But it has been very difficult for me to find a team that is able to be very passionate, disciplined, to produce the quality that I'm envisioning, you know. And like I said, in terms of like premium content, I'm partnering with Open Window University. It's a university that has film, moving image, photography and stuff. It's now the genesis of Zambians can now start creating Black Mirror. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's my purpose here, is to get us to a point where we can compete internationally. Getting clout and numbers, like with all due respect, is easy. Like I know like social media syndicate. I know today I can post a video today knowing this one is going viral. Yeah. But virality doesn't necessarily mean you are making the money. And you're outside the box and you're breaking the borders.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So back to the team, it's been very difficult. I'm still searching. It's actually something I prayed about with my girl. She knows this. I told her, I was like, what burns me out sometimes is the fact that like I have to do everything, you know, or at least 80% of everything. The team I worked with on Tilu was slightly more passionate, more skilled, but they're still growing, they're still learning, you know. So it's very, very difficult in Zambia to find a team, because even you guys, even at this stage, you should be able to find some passionate people to come and operate things for you. Yeah. But you will see as time goes on, it becomes a bit of a struggle. And you know, people say, no, you have to pay people. Even when you pay them, a lot of people are good at acting like they know what they're doing. You pay them. They'll give you a figure. There's people who have given me a figure. I don't even negotiate them down. I'm like, okay, give them that figure. And they're still not able to deliver on time. They're still not able to execute the vision. They have an ego where now they want to change the vision and the direction of everything. I'm a very open person. When people give me ideas and suggestions, I'm very open to getting ideas and suggestions as long as it makes sense and it suits the purpose and the goal that we're trying to achieve. It's not coming from an egotistic space where like, I've brought an idea and I just want this idea to be accepted just because I'm the one who brought this idea, even though majority can see that it's not a good idea, you know? So you have to work with egos. You have to work with lack of discipline, lack of reliability and punctuality. And in such a situation, you are forced, the only solution, if you want something done well, do it yourself. You understand? So that's where that comes from. Yeah.
I have a question that I think would be advice. You've been in this industry for a decade or something, close to a decade.
No, not a decade.
It sounds so old.
I've like, you know, I'm like very young in the industry, especially in Zambia. Like it's been, my first Lusaka Startup Pack hasn't reached 3 years.
Really?
It's on 2 years on my YouTube channel. It will be 3 years towards the end of this year.
Okay, I think that it feels like a decade anyway. I don't know. I think the reason why
it's been 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
So at the
Only.
beginning of COVID. Okay.
Yeah.
If I was to ask this question, how would you advise content creators? There was an episode you did with Brian on your pod, and you said the thing that I do not like is the lack of quality on most of the content that's being produced.
Yeah.
But we must sit down and let's get the facts right, Mix.
Yeah.
How much does it cost to get one episode? I mean the lighting, the sound, the editing, and I mean sometimes there's drone shots that I've seen in some of your episodes.
Yeah.
And getting 4K is not cheap equipment.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a Black Magic cameras that we're talking about, or some high-end Canon that's north of 30,000 just to get one body without the lens, without the it's very expensive.
Yeah.
If it's a podcast, you have to get yourself your sound cards, your mics, your right codes, the software and editing machine.
Yeah.
It's very expensive. So how much? We're just talking financially. How much does it cost to get one episode?
My episodes like are very expensive.
Clearly.
Yeah, like I won't lie, it's very expensive, and whenever I'm partnering with brands with an episode, they're like, can you do like a short video? I'm like, those videos for me don't work. They don't get engagement. They don't get me the respect. I don't have the impact that I have whenever I create mediocre content. For me, you understand? For other people, it might work, but for me, it just doesn't. Because even the first episode of Lusaka Startup Pack, you can see angles.
Yes.
It was color graded. You know what I mean? We tried to work with sound and like different lighting. It kept evolving and growing in terms of quality. So it costs like an episode for Lusaka Startup Pack is between like minimum is 60,000 to 100,000 for one episode. You understand? So just starting from like, there was a period where I did like 2 for MTN. That's like each episode is like 60,000. You understand? Because we need to get 4K cameras, right? Maybe at least 2 4K cameras. We need Godox, like soft boxes, lighting. We need really good computers, you know, to edit these episodes. We need food on set. We need transportation to different locations. We're not shooting in one location. It's transportation to different locations. You need to feed the team. So I was working with Pentatech. Pentatech is like a team of 5. You have to feed all of them. You have to feed the cast, that's 10. You have to feed anyone else that's helping with the sound, this and that. You have to feed those people, plus transport them from different locations. In a day, you can go to 3 to 4 locations. You have to give people, they have to have breakfast, they have to have lunch, they have to have supper, all of them. You understand what I'm saying? So it's very, very expensive. And how I'm trying to present myself, my brand and my content is headed towards that direction of premium quality, you know? So I might not release as many episodes. Like, understand I've released like 12 to 13 to 14 episodes, but I managed to bag a Debonair's brand deal.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? That was during a time I wasn't even releasing episodes, and they paid me in full. You understand what I mean? Because they're like, and the first thing they said is, Mix, we are a premium brand. They're not looking for everyone. They're looking for people who can afford a box of pizza for 200 kwacha. Like 200 kwacha to them is nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's very costly, and the price is going to keep on going up, because just to produce something like Black Mirror should be at least between 100 to 150 million US dollars.
Yeah, it's a huge budget, actually.
Yeah. And for me to get to the level I want to produce the content that I want to actually break the borders, that's my perspective, I'll need at least 1 million to 2 million kwacha per episode.
True.
And like I said, my first episode is not 3 years old.
Yeah.
In the next 10 years, I'll be able to be producing an episode at a minimum of 1 million to 2 million kwacha, if not higher.
I don't doubt that. I think that the mental capability of a man is defined by his own confines and beliefs of saying, what can I do to my full capacity? When you reach a stage where you are intimidated, this goes to physical interaction. If you've ever fought physically, countless of times, you tend to pick up a skill of learning the dance of interaction. What that means is unspoken interaction. Actually installing fear in a man's mind before you even start the dance. Growing up, I was very small in structure, so I was submissible to bullying. I had people in my class. I was like the youngest, the smallest. You can only imagine. And these people will always make examples on you and make you as a test subject. That shit doesn't really, go well to your mental capacity, because either two things will happen: you break or you evolve. So what I'm trying to say is, you recognizing the pattern and you now building yourself as a brand to believe that, like the narrative to say you are going to do what you said you're going to do, and concentrating on that and being as true to yourself in production as you can. Tilu excited me when I saw the trailer. I was like, this is good. You need to be pushing more content out there to solidify your brand as Mix Kasamwa. Because if you hit that lows and people are gonna lose it. And the other thing is we have a tendency of
what do you mean lows though?
Lows in terms of production, where you're not releasing, you're most creative. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I mean lows. So I think as a businessman, I'll speak from the aspect of usually we get too caught up in the inferiority of maybe the next door neighbors, like Mobile City for us. Mobile City is doing big. And you find yourself now competing on a stage that you don't even belong. You know what I mean? Your stage is very different, but you're just competing.
Yeah, and then you lose authenticity the moment you do that.
Exactly. There's a thing that you said which brought about the thought of you now compromising just because you wanted numbers and stuff like that. You would have taken that route of saying, let me compromise. But what I'm trying to say is your production is good, has been consistently good, which is very good. But you compromising sometimes would help your production. What I mean is you not have the procrastination, because usually for us, whenever we were stopped to do something bigger, like we don't have enough funds yet. But we discovered to say sometimes you having not many funds to do a certain project doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. Look at us now today. We're supposed to have 2 4K cameras. Something happened. Now we're using our phones literally to document this. And it's all with it's going to happen regardless, whether in low quality or not. But the narrative will still be pushed. Your authenticity in richness of what you're throwing out there is usually seen in your work. And I believe the mindset of we're going to make it work. Anyways, is going to help you as the leader, because it has helped me in my journey as well.
The only thing I can say, just so that I don't forget, is I've been watching the game in Zambia. I've seen a lot of people go to different places, countries. And, I've seen some musicians go to different countries, you know. Look at Nigeria, for example. You understand what I'm saying? Nigeria music videos are quality.
Amazing.
They've created that standard. Look at the Nollywood section on Netflix for Nigeria. It's quality. So at the end of the day, in as much as it's fine to have humble beginnings, because it's not like my first video was in 4K. It wasn't. It was on one camera, a DSLR camera. We were recording sound on phones. You understand what I'm saying? We were still working with what we had, but I had to grow, and I have to grow, because the people, this is like to everyone, the people with the money, the racks, the ones who really sign the checks, they watch premium content.
True.
They know what premium is. They know that this is looking international. That's the secret I'll tell you. So I've seen content creators from Zambia, large numbers, like even previously I've been watching the game, there were people who used to clock 1 million views on Facebook. And if you look at them now, it's sad. They clocked 1 million views on Facebook, or even 500K, 600K on YouTube. They'll go to Joburg, no one knows. You show them, and I did a research where, because I've got some friends in South Africa and also friends in Botswana, a lot of multimedia people, and I'd send them a video that's gone viral in Zambia, and I'd send them to them. They were like, yo, I don't understand anything. The sound is bad. It's not visually appealing to me. It's not triggering anything for me. You know what I mean? And when you see Zambians struggling sometimes to really be at the level, because if Nigeria can do it, why not? If South Africa, even just in South Africa alone can do it, why can't we? We have to increase our standards. We have to. And with social media and the internet, it's worse. Now, you need to understand, this is with all due respect, this is just for the record. When you look back 100 episodes back, you guys are competing with the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, true.
How are you going to convince me to stop watching the Breakfast Club or Podcast and Chill to watch your podcast.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So even with podcast and chill, you can see the quality of even in the cameras. They even put it at the end. Like if you want to rent the gear we use, you can follow this quality, guys. Quality control. I understand. When you're starting, it's fine. It's fine how you're shooting. You have put effort in the lighting, the setup, the sound. You're still doing a good job. You're still producing quality. It's definitely above average. But eventually, as time goes on, you will have the responsibility to have a feel and a look that can compete at an international level.
True.
You know, because in as much as it can go viral, like I said, that instant gratification of like it's gone viral, like these premium companies don't say we're looking for the most viral content. Some of the guys who get viral a lot, you should ask yourself why they haven't really partnered with like most of the premium brands.
Yeah, like the biggest names.
Yeah. Some of the you need to understand, for me, when I get 1 million views, it's going to be 1 million views. That 1 million views. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When I get 1 million views, it won't just be, it will be 1 million views where like Nike is in my email, Apple is in my email, Microsoft is in my email. You know what I mean? When I'm at 1 million views and that's my average, the car I'll be driving will be different. You guys saw me pull up in a Mazda 6. You'll see that. When you see 1 million views and you come into your podcast, you'll see the car I'll be in. It will be a different type of 1 million views.
I like the charisma and the energy,
you
and the
know,
conviction
so
you have.
quality control, and we're not far in Zambia. We're not far. You guys are not far. So many people are not far. We just need to just push it just a little bit. It's difficult to get quality stuff, right?
Yeah.
But that's what separates everything. You understand? That's what's. If it's easy, there's a problem. There's a big problem.
I think my last question would be, in the next 10 years, where do you see yourself? Where do you see your brand?
Actually, in the next 10 years, I see myself international. I've been in the game so far for close to 3 years. I keep reminding people, you know, they put so much pressure on me. I'm like, guys, I'm still in my 20s. Sometimes, if you want to say I'm competing like financially or like affiliate brand, sometimes I'm competing, like when they are mentioning names, they're like, okay, some of our options apart from you were this, and this. I'm like, yo, this person's been in the game for 10 years. This person's been in the game for 12 years. I'm like, like I said, I'm very content with the stage I'm at. I'm moving at the right pace. And the next 10 years, trust me, like, it will be bookie, man. It will be the real book. Yeah, man. Yeah, last. You understand? So, yeah, that's all I can say.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been exciting. I think it's been 2 hours with Mix. I wanted to say this episode has been sponsored by Z Nations, Opulence Redefined. For the 100th subscriber, we're giving an MI. Remember, the MI phone for the 100th subscriber. Malo?
Yeah, it's been a powerful one of those podcasts, and I wish to have you on our, more platforms that we're gonna have, and more, podcasts that we're gonna shoot. Please.
Yeah. Feel free to have me. I've been seeing a lot of podcasts where they invite the same person 3-4 times.
Yeah.
I feel like we haven't even gone deep into relationships.
Yes.
We haven't gone as deep. We haven't gone as deep into like marketing or like business, even content creation. So I enjoyed this. I enjoyed the questions you asked. I'm also excited to like really put it out there as well.
Yeah, I hope it's going to be easier to reach you now that we have some sort of camaraderie between each other.
Definitely.
Looking at the fact that I can now point, I know him. He's my friend.
I mean, look at the video and you're like, what
are you talking about? What are you tuning? Yeah. Anyway, as you can see, we have the toughest on
in LSK.
That's
the
best
toughest.
Believe it, Ndine Emma has got nothing on him.
No, guys.
Nothing.
That one. Pundani ativene. Nah, like shout out to Ndine Emma. That's my boy.
Yeah. It's been,
I love what he does. No beef, no hate.
it's been amazing, and we enjoyed having him. And seeing that you're a well-spoken, well-thought guy, it encourages me, and it makes me want to talk to you more about different topics.
No stress.
Hope we're gonna have that. My name has been Mal on the M&J podcast. Remember to follow us on all our platforms. We have YouTube. Yeah, we try to post content. Sometimes they pull it down. We're gonna post it over and over again.
Why did they pull it down?
We spoke about the people, so it was we might pull this down.
They mustn't do that.
It's wild, regulations and whatnot. We're still trying to catch the algorithm of these platforms, and we're gonna explore Twitter as well. So follow us on Twitter and Facebook and TikTok. I spoke about it. There's Rumble. Is it Rumble? It's not in Africa, but please, guys, if you have to get the VPNs just to get the M&J podcast, you have to.
Are you on Apple Podcast and Spotify as well?
Apple Podcast. Wow, we don't even know much about the Apple Podcast.
Yeah, you should set it up. That Z podcast is on Apple Podcast, and they've been getting like good
reviews.
Yeah, reviews. How do you guys feel about that Z podcast?
Huh?
How do you guys feel about that Z podcast?
They're old, guy. Those guys are old. With the new thing.
I'm doing what you guys are doing to me about.
Yeah, sure. I'm just saying
with Ndine Emma, the
old.
comparison.
Those guys are old. We're the new. It's our time now. For me, I'm not even going to be, as kind as you are and whatnot.
Yeah.
Me, I'm just saying it as it is. I would love to be on their platform.
Talk your shit.
I'd love to be on that platform. I would still say the same thing. They're old with the new thing. The M&J podcast is what's coming, guys.
Let's go.
Z podcast. I don't even remember. Z what? M&J podcast.
I like you guys.
Thanks a lot. I think it's a wrap.
All right.
Thank you. How's the sound, man?